Hi everyone, this is Eric Brown and I'm here with Denise Herrera from Burton's Grill, and we're here to have a conversation to learn more about the story about how they became to be. We have a treat in that we're in the corporate office, so it's sort of a behind the scenes view of a restaurant operation that we don't normally get. So I'm really excited to be here, and thanks for having me here, Denise.
Thank you for inviting me.
So I'd love to learn more about, how did we get here, right? From culinary school or going to Johnson & Wales to we're now sitting in a conference room. Not all, restaurant operations have the luxury of space or, conference rooms or the scale that you've been able to achieve in such a short amount of time. So, yeah, would love to sort of hear the start and go from there.
Absolutely. I will say it was a team effort, first
Okay.
off, because it's always a team effort. And I did go to culinary school, and I graduated in 98, and I was working with another restaurant group, and I felt that I needed to learn Spanish, so I took a little time off, and I was traveling through Central and South America. 6 months into the trip, one of my sisters was getting married, so I moved back to New Hampshire, came back to New Hampshire for her wedding. And she was a proprietor for Outback Steakhouse. And at that time, she introduced me to her joint venture partner, which was Kevin Herrera, who is now the CEO and president of Burton's Grill and Red Heat Tavern. And he was looking for a chef, and I was a chef, and I didn't really have a job, so I said, well, this sounds like it could fit. And,
Sure.
What he wanted and how he was pitching the brand, which was from scratch, customizable menu, changes seasonally, all of that really intrigued me, and that was playing to what I really like to create. So I said, okay, great. When are we going to start? He said, not for 6 more months. I said, okay, well, I'm going to travel South America. So I did that, and then when I finished my trip, we packed up my Honda Civic and I moved across country, and I started working with Kevin in a development phase of the menu, and we didn't have a restaurant at that point in time.
Okay.
So we were trying to, secure landlords to allow us to put one of our first restaurants in their space.
Sure.
Which they were a little hesitant because they had no idea who we were, what we were trying to do. Well, we did get a restaurant in Hingham. There was somebody that pulled out, and we were able to go into that space. So that was our first restaurant that we opened in 2005. But before that, I was consulting for a restaurant up in the North Shore area with Kevin as well. And we were doing side projects together, which we were doing a lot of menu research, development. One of our business partners, investors, is Brian McCarthy, and he owns Kelly's Roast Beef. So I was doing a lot of my R&D work out of the Kelly's Roast Beef in Danvers.
Sounds delicious.
So that was a lot of fun. Yeah. So had a full kitchen there. Was able to slice, dice, create. Had enough ample space for storage of items. But we went through different magazines and had different ideas and started piecing things together, and then we started making the food. And we said, okay, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? And you never know. And when you're in a test kitchen area, you think it works and everything tastes good, and then you have to grow that recipe and size it up so that you're not making it 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day.
Right, sure.
So we were making it in baby batches, and then we had to scale them up. So once we did all of that, we felt that we were very secure in what we had as far as a menu and recipes and cost analysis and vendors. And so we had to partner with all of our vendors as well and make sure that we had the proper ingredients and SKUs that were lined up for our business. And then we had the opportunity to go into the Hingham space and start hiring. And again, when people don't know who you are because you don't have another restaurant, it's a lot of storytelling, it's a lot of pictures, it's a lot of who we want to be.
Yeah.
And ever since the beginning, we've always been very, very strong with culture. We respect all of our team members, and that's really what the foundation of our 7 defining principles is built upon, is respect. And we wanted to portray that to every individual that was hired. So that's what we call all of our team members.
Great.
And there isn't anything that I wouldn't do that I would ask them to do.
Sure.
And that was something that we thought was very important, that there was transparency in our hiring. So we did get a team, and we built our first location, and then we opened the doors, and we were okay as far as business goes. We weren't, slamming down the doors or lines out there or anything, but it started to slowly catch on. And people were coming in that worked in the center for lunch, and then they would bring their families back for dinner. And right,
that's
so
great.
that was great, and
Real endorsement.
And it really was. So in the beginning, as you're starting to, we had a dream that we wanted 10 restaurants in 10 years. Okay?
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
that was like starting point. That's great.
That was a starting point. So
Okay.
you always have something that you want to attain.
Sure.
And we had 2 restaurants we were opening up in the first year. So, we said, okay, can we do this? We hope so. But we were driven off of quality, consistency, customizable menu items. We would split food in the kitchen for people that wanted to split their plates and not charge them extra money.
Okay.
We just felt that there was a lot of nickeling and diming going on
Totally.
there, and we didn't want to be that group. We wanted to out-execute all of our competition and just have people speak very highly of us and continue to recommend us to dine, and that was really what we were going after. We knew we weren't going to create the next potato skin or bloomin' onion or anything along that line, so we said, okay, let's just give somebody a very good experience. And from that point forward, we've always talked about the experience, whether it's an employee experience or a guest experience.
And I see that you call them guests versus customers, which is actually a big difference.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Well, we're in the hospitality industry,
right.
So when you ask a friend to come over, you ask your friend to come over into your house, and that's how we look at guests in our business, because they're our guests, and we want to take care of them because it is the hospitality industry that we're in.
So when you opened the first location, like was there a lot of like marketing, like writing or putting ads out there, or how did you attract? No. Okay. So
we still truly believe in word of mouth marketing.
Yeah.
We have a very small marketing team for the size of business that we are, but we focus a lot on local store marketing. So we don't want to be considered a chain restaurant that just opens, these cookie cutter restaurants in all of these different markets. We want to open a restaurant that the community needs and wants, and we want to be part of that community. So we partner with different charities, with different organizations that are in our communities. So that landscape can be very different for Hingham to North Andover to Nashua, just because of the needs of the communities are different.
And how did you go about finding the different locations, or even the second one? And now that like what's that process like? So
lucky for us, our CEO Kevin Herrera did this for Outback Steakhouse. So he had a lot of connections with real estate agents and brokers that helped guide him, and was looking for the right demographics. So you're looking for car counts, you're looking for household demos, you're looking for the saturation of those demos as well. So once he started to find these neighborhoods, we also said that we are a suburban concept that brings the urban feel to the suburbs. So we didn't want to have to have all of our guests drive into Boston or into a major city to experience what a great steak is, or what great service is, or a great wine list. So this was 15 years ago, and that wasn't heard of at that point in time. So that was really what we were going after, as well as we felt that underserved communities that had the right demos, that didn't have to drive into a major city to get a great experience. So we were capturing them. Got that.
So a lot of, I think, even culinary school grads or people coming into the industry, and maybe part of it's the Food Network or other things that they view, right? They have this romantic idea that they want to open a restaurant, and everyone's going to come, and the food's going to be great, and the menu's going to be different. And it sounds like you had a lot of those qualities, but there's definitely an element of, this is also a business, and there was a lot of planning and maybe not so sexy, stuff going into the success of where you are right now, right?
Yeah, and that's very true. And you can romanticize about an idea or a concept or what you want, but at the end of the day, when you take that revenue at the top and you take all your expenses out, you still want to be left with something,
right?
Right. So you're not going to grow rich, but what can you do to make yourself profitable? So we were very disciplined in that aspect of how we looked at a profit and loss statement sheet, saying, this is what I have for revenue, this is what I'm going to allow for food costs, this is what I'm going to allow for labor cost, this is what I'm going to put for non-controllable expenses, and this is what my controllable expenses are going to be. So it will yield us some sort of profitability at the end.
And how much, say, culinary school learning versus reality, like how do you view that? Or
I think culinary school, I did a 2+2 degree, so I had my associates in culinary arts and then a bachelor's in food service management. And they were both very valuable to me in real life practices, as long as you can take the knowledge that you learned and apply it to your business. So that's where people have the challenge of saying, okay, I learned this, but why is it not fitting in this square hole,
Yeah.
So if you can apply, hospitality accounting or menu planning, menu design, all of the things that we did learn in school, very important. Culinary school, that was more hands-on, and I really enjoyed that because it was great for my learning, and it just kept me going and going and going. I use probably less of the culinary aspect than I do the managerial aspect.
Oh, okay. And so you're chef for location number 1. Mm-hmm. Now you're in charge of all of food and beverage here?
Correct.
So what's that transition like, and when did it happen that you weren't
over time?
Okay, yeah, right.
Over time. So I was chef for 1 and 2. So
okay.
I was the executive chef for each of them, and then I hired my replacement. After we got number 2, then I became culinary director, and I would hire chefs for each of the new openings, but I would go in and I would be the back of the house opening coordinator, where I would, make sure that people are hired right. I would write the training schedules. I'd make sure the food is purchased, and I would mentor my executive chefs that are in the restaurants of kind of where they need to be. What are we looking at as far as food quality, technique on cooking? So I would pass that knowledge through them.
Okay.
And then, as time has grown on, we've added more layers into our program. So I do have 2 gentlemen that oversee the culinary operations, where it's store level. They work with the executive chefs on daily, weekly, monthly planning, objectives, the whole kit and caboodle. And then I have 3 chefs that are part of my culinary creative team that help develop recipes for different objectives that I've set out for them, whether it's a new kids menu item or whether it's a seasonal menu change or whether we're working on our core menu items as well.
Sure.
So that's how I say that. Then I have a beverage manager who helps me pull together the non-alcoholic and the alcoholic beverage lists. We are in 8 different states right now, so that gets to be complicated because he needs to know all the laws.
Right.
He also needs to know, what works in each region, because not everybody wants to just drink Cabernet or Chardonnay. They also want different varietals in certain markets, and then you had the big beer boom. So it definitely gets complex as you start to look at it, and my job is to really set the vision and keep everybody on track with the processes that we have in place on following through.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but as you've scaled, it's been along the East Coast, right? We
have scaled along the East Coast. So we have gone into the Virginia market, and that was one of our first locations outside of the New England market. So we have 4 restaurants, 3 in Virginia, 1 in Maryland, but all in that same area.
Right.
Then I have 2 in the Carolinas, 1 in North Carolina, 1 in South Carolina, and then 1 in Boca. So as we look at growth, we're going to look at how can we grow around the Charlotte area, how can we grow around Boca, Miami area, and that Florida, because we also want to leverage our purchasing powers and make sure that, I do have national deals with people, but sometimes if you don't have the right movement on certain items, you can't stock it. So if I have more restaurants pulling from one distribution center, then I can get proprietary items in there that differentiate us from the others.
Okay, and does that also help you become more of a brand for households, that you're not just spread thin across like the entire U.S., for instance, or even further? Or what was the decision around focusing on the East Coast, I guess is my question.
More of it is also we know that area, because that's where we're comfortable with right now. And as you start to go out west, then you're not leveraging your home office very well. You're not leveraging some of your other purchasing. So if we are to move out west, it would definitely be a strategic plan that we would figure all that out before we did it.
Got it. So as you think forward now, whether it's the next 5 years or 10 years, is there a plan? I mean, there seems like there has to be a plan.
There's always plans, yes.
Having this conversation. So, what is that like, or what are your hopes in terms of your continued success?
So we have a second brand, which is called Red Heat Tavern, and we opened that 5 years ago. As looking at if we weren't going to grow outside of New England, we wanted to have 2 brands that we can go to different demos and be successful in, and not cannibalize our own brand as well.
Right.
So that's also really important, is that you had to be different enough that you say, I'm going to go to Burton's tonight for Monday night, but I really want to eat Red Heat on Thursday night. So we're hitting you 2 times in 1 week instead of, once a month kind of a deal.
Okay, that's great.
So that's really where we started to look at, okay, if we go outside of New England, where can we put Red Heats, and then where can we put additional Burton's grills?
Got it. Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So you definitely are busy.
We are definitely busy. So, we opened 3 Red Heats this year, 1 Burton's Grill, and we're getting ready to open 2 Burton's for sure next year, and then a couple more, are on the docket. It's a little bit weird, real estate and the lease negotiation.
Sure.
So you never want to say anything that's like done deal until I'm in that restaurant opening it up. Yeah. So you never know what can actually happen.
Sure. And so the other thing I just wanted to have a conversation about is, your focus on customizing the menu, but also the allergy-friendly treatment or, I guess, protocols that you have in place. People can go through basic training, but you've taken it to the next level to actually incorporate that as part of the experience. And
it is part of the experience.
Yeah.
And so there came a point in time, and so Kevin is celiac, and he's been celiac since he was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just watch him eat, and I said, you eat all of our food. And he's like, well, it's easy to navigate because it's all from scratch, and I know that it's whole food. It's not, a lot of preservatives or hidden ingredients.
Right.
So I approached him. I said, I'd really like to do a gluten-free menu. And he goes, are you sure? Because when you start down this path, this is the path you go for, and if you're going to do it, we're going to do it right. I said, absolutely. And it's been a very good path for us because people have become very trustworthy at Burton's. I've never brought a peanut in the restaurant in the entire time that we've been in business. And we have a big spreadsheet that has all the different allergens on it for people and all the ingredients so that they can look at it. But you're right. If we're going to customize somebody's experience and we're going to make sure that we are playing into the allergy-friendly arena, we better be good at it. Okay, because when you're talking about allergies, you're talking about life or death with people, and that's just not anything that you want to take lightly. So that's why they sign an allergy commitment upon hiring, so they know in the whole interview process, this is no joke. We're very serious, and you can lose your job if you fail to follow any of these procedures that we've put in here, because there's all sorts of checks and balances of how we need to operate to keep people safe. So. Yes, we do customize the experience. Whether if you don't want peppers in your house salad, no peppers in the house salad, and we can mix it at that point in time because the order isn't made until it comes into the kitchen.
So I know you can't speak for other restaurants or other owners, but it seems to be a point of contention for other places where you've embraced it. So I don't know, through your career or just networking, you have a sense of why this seems to be an issue for other restaurants.
Like I said in the beginning, we're in the hospitality industry, so yes, I am a chef, and yes, when somebody orders a meal of mine that I created that has a different sauce, a different protein, and all these different things on it, and they say they don't like it, well, I get it, but I wanted to try it, and that's what I'm here to assist them with as well. So I think it would have been foolish for us to say, no, we're not going to handle any allergies in our business because you look at the growing number of allergies that are just coming out, and it's scary. And if we can assist anybody that has an allergy that hasn't eaten in a restaurant before, I'd like to be there for them. And that, people always ask me, what's your favorite meal to cook? I don't have a favorite meal to cook. Whatever your favorite meal to eat is, that's the one I want to cook, because I want to see that. I want to see that smile on your face. That's why I got into this. It's my mother would say, you're the pickiest eater. Why are you going to be a chef? I was like, because I like making it for other people.
I love that. That's great. Yeah. Well, thanks. I really appreciate the time. Is there anything about Burton's that you would want others to know that maybe it's just not obvious when you walk in the door? Any parting words that you'd want to tell people?
The parting words is that we really do want to take care of you, and we want to make sure that you're getting what you want. So if you don't see something, ask. We're happy to accommodate requests that we can do in the kitchen. So if we have it, we will make it for you.
That's great. Well, thanks for your time. It's really good to be here. So I learned a lot, and hope you all did too. Take care.
Have a great day.